descend and maintain 2074.
Who am I?
Comet 504, descend and maintain 3000. 3000, Comet 504.
Answer Captain 724 is our traffic about our...
In my 20s, I dream of flying a plane. Due to having glasses, I thought it's not possible. In mid-2016, I started to have foggy vision. After I checked out, the doctor said I have cataract in both my eyes. Wow! I really never expected this. I felt like taking a trip to the moon, jumping up and down. I'm filled with excitement. But the unexpected turns out into my reality. The cold, hard truth. I need to step into divorce. My mom said her final goodbye, and my family broke apart. I stepped into a solitude journey. This is the best journey I ever experienced. It was super challenging. My achievement, the award-winning author, from housewife to pilot, the beginning.
Comet 504, descend and maintain 3000. 3000, Comet 504.
I'm Keiko Lim. I'm here holding your hands, guiding you every steps to discover your potential, harness that energy, bring it to your reality, and make your dreams come true.
Comet 504, ready speed of 170 for tower space. You get following a Boeing 727, 1 o'clock, 6 miles right base, descending on a 3500.
Welcome to Tuesday with Keiko. Today, my guest speaker is Ambra Hubert, founder of Brave Speaker Academy, transform fearful speakers into confident voices of impact. Drawing from her 4.5 years as a key team member at Impact Theory alongside with Tom Bilyeu, Ambra has mastered the art of helping entrepreneurs and thought leaders. A TED speaker and co-founder of Empoweress Poetry Press, she combines her expertise in creativity, coaching, and community building to guide others from stage fright to spotlight. Having lived in 5 countries and speaking 3 languages, Ambra brings a unique global perspective to public speaking transformation. Through Brave Speaker Academy, she's on the mission to empower individuals to overcome their fears, find their voice, and share their message with the world, both on stage and in life. Welcome, Ambra.
Thank you so much, Keiko. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for the invitation. I'm so excited about your new podcast.
You're welcome. Ambra, share with the audience a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Hello, everybody. So first of all, I'm just pleased to be here with Keiko because I worked with Keiko before on some of the things that I'll be sharing during my TED Talk Tools workshop. So it's a real pleasure to be on your podcast, Keiko. I myself was a visual artist for many years in multiple domains, including theater, which I was just sharing about really living out the starving artist stereotype for quite a while, moving about and making that a priority in my life. My brother is an incredible artist, and I really looked up to him for a long time, but eventually I came to realize that that wasn't the life for me. So I continued to live creatively, but got involved more in business, learning about how the corporate world worked, anything that had to do with finding ways to reach more people and involving more money with it. It's a huge deal, especially for people who are a lot of times in the creative world, artists who buy into this trope that you have to also suffer for it, and you really don't necessarily have to. Anyway, so most recently I worked at Impact Theory, which is also how we met. Impact Theory University is a department of Impact Theory, which was one of the most amazing 4.5 years segments of my life. I had an incredible experience supporting so many people on their personal growth journeys, witnessing people start up businesses and to really just change their lives before my eyes. It was an incredible privilege. And as a result, continued to do my own creative pursuits, one of which was last year starting up the Empoweress Poetry Press, so an independent publishing company that's just at the beginning. We just published our first anthology with 18 writers. Super excited about that. And just in this last month, I launched the Brave Speaker Academy. So I'm really excited about that. And we already have plenty of members joining every day, new workshops every month. So this is really what I'm focusing my attention on at the moment.
Yeah, that is really amazing. Yeah, I love that event that you created, the TED Talk tool.
That was a wonderful workshop. And what was surprisingly wonderful about it too is everyone who joined the workshop got so much value out of it that they wanted to continue the workshop. I think it was set for 8 weeks. We ended up doing it
Yes.
for 12 weeks, I think.
Yes.
So that was an indicator for me that that type of coaching was actually a great spot for me to be putting my attention as well.
That's nice. And
Mhm.
how you cope with the journey of transformation in your life, especially being a public speaker?
Mhm. I've had really a lot of key moments that I would consider transformative in my life.
Mm.
So what I would say is a lot of those, I think for a lot of people, start with a negative, and the transformation is how do I get that to a positive? You let your life sort of turn to mush like a caterpillar and then come
Yes.
back out like a butterfly.
Yes, that's
Transformation
right.
or
Yeah, that's right.
metamorphosis, right? So I
Mm.
would say it's very much the same for me, and definitely not a one and done situation. I've had to learn some hard lessons multiple times and get
True.
hit over the head several times with those hard lessons.
True.
And in terms of speaking, so when I first got up on the TED stage, I had just gone through really a terrible series of years in my life and was still confronting a lot of pain resulting from them. And I had this instinct that I think not a lot of people necessarily would have it. It kind of matches my personality, but I thought, I feel so small now. How can I stop feeling so small and so weak? And that's to take one big, bold, courageous action. And then I can show myself that I can be strong again. And that and I think there was definitely some validation around that. You know, I can
Mm.
be, find a way to find approval in the world when I just don't have it internally. So I started to think about that kind of thing differently. And one of the stories that I did tell in our workshop, that did garner some interest is that when I was getting up on that stage, I was so scared. I was so scared of this moment that I didn't even practice my talk, which is horrible. Like, I'm so, I don't want to nurture carrying shame around, but like in a more, let's say, colloquial way, I will just say it's just definitely something I'm not proud of. I would not encourage you to not practice your talk before you get up on any stage. But that's what I did. And I think there was a certain amount of fear that I was already letting overpower me, even in the process.
Mm.
But I still was showing myself I was going to do it. So I was in the backstage in the green room with the microphone, ready to walk out
Yeah.
on the red dot and listening to the person before me. And I was just this close to telling them, skip over me, don't even come here. I was on the program, but I was like, no one's going to care. No one knows who I am. It doesn't matter. I said to myself in that moment, what's the worst that could happen? I make a fool out of myself. It's being live streamed, but I mean, even then, who cares, right? Life moves on. Everything lives on the internet, so we got to deal with that anyway. um,
True.
and at least I could say I did it, right? And
Yes.
that does feel a lot like, you know, how I lived with it for a while. It was not so much the incredible power of the talk that I gave. The power came from the fact that I gave the talk, and I used it as a stepping stone to the next strongest part of my life. And so I would say, in general, and this is part of where Brave comes into the Brave Speaker Academy, is just like doing things makes you feel more competent at them, which makes you want to do them more. Practicing speaking isn't just about practicing to get better skills. It's about practicing courage. And by seeing that you can be courageous, it's much easier to take that risk again and again and again. And you can apply that courage that you learn in something that's so terrifying, like getting up and speaking. You can actually bring that same courage muscle into other parts of your life where you might need it.
Yeah, that is so true. Like, I remember the first time doing that video recording in Impact Theory University. I think I did perhaps close to 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
Even just, in front of camera, yeah, I do feel the nervousness, and we really need to have that kind of courage to speak in front of a camera.
Yeah. Well, and I think part of it, Keiko, and that specific to that is also, I'm sure not everybody feels this, but most people do feel a certain level of terror when speaking,
Yes.
public speaking. And now we live in an age where we have the ability to practice in front of a camera so easily. Almost everybody has these tools.
Yes.
But like you practice so many times and then practice in front of a camera, that in itself is brave, because a lot of people don't want to face the immediate small failures. And I know that because that was me. I didn't want to face all of those small failures of practicing and having to do take 2, take 3, take 4, take 5. And I showed up for the rehearsal and I still had my note cards, and they said, "You didn't memorize it?" And I said, "No, but I'll have it ready tomorrow, I promise." And so the self-talk that I needed to do with myself also with that was I did prepare slides with no words on them. So that didn't help me at all, but it did help me to walk through the major points. And I figured if I forgot anything, no one else would know, but the slide would cue me up if I were to freeze. And the other thing that gave me confidence in that moment was I came up with this out of my brain. So it's in there somewhere. You know what I mean? I didn't take it from somewhere and then I'm like holding on to it with my hands and that's it. It's actually, it came from me. If it came from me, then it can come from me again. And that gave me a little bit of trust in myself in the moment, right? And so the same thing goes with these small moments of practice, which do take courage. Even if you're by yourself, it takes courage. It really does. To see yourself that way and to see, like, I wake up in the morning and put makeup on, and in front of the wrong mirror, I see the wrinkles creeping up and things like that now. And we live in a society that just makes us feel really insecure about a lot of these things. And so the same goes with owning your voice and realizing that you can stumble over your words and it doesn't make you lesser of a person. You can sit and have to think and it's okay. You can speak with an accent and it's okay. I speak 3 languages and I started as a native English speaker. The other 2 I learned. And, they're not the hardest languages maybe, and it's not so many languages like some people have given me flack about that because of what my TED Talk was. But it was enough for me living in multiple countries to have such an amazing appreciation for what it's like to the kinds of small acts of courage it takes to step outside in a foreign country and ask for something so simple as, where do I find the bathroom?
Yes.
A lot of that's huge. Those are moments that if you travel or if you do anything in your life that makes you uncomfortable, you should have a way in a mental counter or maybe it's in your phone where you can say, you know what, that took courage. And so that's your little courage cookie jar, little brag sheet for yourself.
Yeah, like Goggins.
Yeah, like Goggins' cookie jar, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, leave a link. You should leave a link to that, so everyone knows what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yes. It's. I mean, it's like I really I'm grateful for joining Impact Theory University, especially the 90 days challenge. That really helps me a lot to overcome those small, getting into those small breakthroughs.
Yeah.
And even until today, I still look back at those 90-day challenge that I did, and I tell myself, okay, I'm taking baby steps to go to where I want to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm,
Yeah, I love that you brought up breakthrough there, because I've been thinking about that since you asked me to join you here. And I know that breakthrough, the word itself and the meaning is definitely about big moments in time that are transformational moments, or moments where you can look back and say there was a before
yes.
and an after, something that made a huge difference. And while that's true, for me, the real change after the actual through part of the break, and
Mm,
maybe that's a good way to break the word apart, is there's the break, because for me, a lot of my transformation has been due to trauma. Maybe not true for everybody, but
mm,
there's been a traumatic break, something in my
mm,
life line somewhere along the way, multiple times, and it gives me something I need to work on, to think about, to live with, just living with it. Whether, and that can be anything. It can be from, having no money and sleeping in my car, which has happened,
mm,
to, dealing with an international custody and divorce situation, like small
mm.
to big. And it's all different for everybody. We all have things
Yes.
that are our moments, our special moments. So the break, but then what's the through part about? The through part to me is kind of what I was just talking about, is the small, consistent actions, or just, it's not, I mean, it is actions, but it's the proof that you can, and then seeing yourself win with clear, strong choices over what was chaos. And so you start to get this sense of like you're in charge of your life again, and you've
Yeah.
become a new person in the process. That's the breakthrough for me.
Yeah. That is so beautiful. How you gain clarity of what you love doing?
It's such a great question, and it's such a common question. And I know this by working at impact theory. Um, for me, I think what I've learned in all the years, especially because I started as a creative, which means I
Mm,
am happy to experiment with anything, and I don't mind being terrible at it, which is a great gift. I mean, there are people who won't experiment with new ideas because they don't want to be bad at something.
mm,
Um, and not that I haven't felt that, but there have been parts of my creative life where, for example, I love painting and I'm not very good at it, but I love it almost because I'm not very good at it. So I don't have high expectations. I never expected to make any money as a painter. I never expected to get great validation, or have a very deep practice with my painting. It was more meditative and fun and playful. And that was how that was my relationship to painting. So I know I love it because I understand the relationship I have to it. So I think that a lot of times clarity is around developing a relationship. So for something new that I'm not sure I even love or like, maybe just flirt with it a little bit. Just check it out. Just check it out. Go on a
I love I love how you said just flirt flirt with it.
flirt with it. Go on a date. So okay, so I'll stick with the painting example for a second, which is, if you decide you would like to explore being an artist as a painter, right?
Mm,
You don't have to go to the art store and spend $500 or $1,000 on all the best things. You don't have to do that. You can get
mm.
a $3 canvas, and
Mm,
you can get just a few colors of acrylic or watercolor, whatever. But acrylic is a
mm,
nice way to kind of dive in, rich, fun colors to play with, and start learning and just touching it. Just like with people, some people you don't even, you realize, imagine you're swiping, right? You're finding people on the apps to date, and you're swiping left and you're swiping right, and that's a completely superficial thing, but you got to start somewhere, right? Same thing here.
yes.
You got to start somewhere. So just start. Don't marry the painting before you even know if you like it. Just go on a date. Just go on a date. Yeah, and enjoy that phase, right? If you think of everything up until I'm perfect is failure or equivalent to failure, that sucks. Like enjoy, not only enjoy like, oh, I'm bad at it right now. Okay, don't focus on that part, but enjoy the same way that you would enjoy getting to know someone at a coffee date and then maybe a more romantic dinner date. And then like
Mm.
enjoy the early phases of something and then you can learn to love it. Or and you can maybe decide, does it love me back? That's also part of it too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and enjoying or love is really important. Like you
Yeah.
love what you're doing and you enjoy what you're doing. That is really very important. For us to feel positive and feel light and fluffy.
Seriously. I mean, and do things that make you feel good. And if the
Mm,
idea of discovering what you love feels stressful, you're on the wrong track. I think you
so
can safely
true.
say you're on the wrong track because
Yeah.
that's not what that's supposed to feel like. I don't know for sure what it does, what it's supposed to feel like for everyone exactly, but I'm pretty sure for sure for everybody it shouldn't be stressful. You
Yeah.
know, I mean that
As
might be hard moments.
when you enjoy it, you just love doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And okay, we'll give an example in the entrepreneur space. It doesn't mean there aren't going to be hard days. If what you
Mm,
love to do is run your business, you're going to
mm,
have hard days. If you're, even if you, I keep coming to this painting thing because I just love it. It's so easy for most of us to have an idea about it, but most of us aren't painters. So
yeah.
to look at amazing works of art and so this is one of the jokes I have with some of my artist friends is every painting has its ugly phase.
True.
There's hard days in that too. Just because you can make an amazing work of art doesn't mean that there aren't going to be hard days or moments where you're just disgusted by the whole thing and want to
Mm,
give it up.
so
Yeah.
true. Because it's like that. Of course, there are moments that I feel like I would like to jump timeline if I could.
Where would you like to go?
I would like to go to a place where I'm enjoying the moment and I'm not feeling stress because at times like when in Impact Theory University when I have to do that 90-day challenge,
Mhm.
the most interesting part is everything around me is in a mess. I'm just focusing on the task.
Yeah, that's normal. I mean, I think that that's very typical. You have to make choices. You have to prioritize, and
Yes,
sometimes
so true.
a tidy house is not a priority when you're doing massive creative work or something
Yeah.
that's new and that just is very time consuming. And if that's your commitment, which that was your commitment,
Yes,
you
that's
know,
right.
one of the things I heard once or read once, and it's always stuck with me was, and this was in the time when I was a creative, very much was no one is going to look on your gravestone and say, was her house
Mm.
clean? No.
Yeah, that is so true.
Yeah. So, but you
Yeah.
wrote a book. That's and you're just at the beginning of your journey.
Yeah, that's right. Enjoy. And what is the takeaway for our viewers?
Keiko, I love this. I think in general, and this has become very clear as I've started this new community.
Yeah.
When you're doing something like this, it's new. It's not if it's yours. It's not just how are you supporting others, but how does this new venture support you, and
Mm,
how is it going to sustain something that you love to do and sustain you as a person?
that's right.
And what is the common thread? And I think of all of the stories that I have and all of the takeaways I've had from all of my breakthroughs is just be brave. So that's why I called it the Brave Speaker Community. Live your boldest life. Don't be afraid of it. um, I'm not proud of everything that has happened in my life, but I own it. And there was a video I saw of Salma Hayek not too long ago, and she
Mm-hmm.
said something like, don't let anyone take your mistakes from you. They're your
Mm,
mistakes. And I love that because so often we just want to shame ourselves or forget about them. But if you turn that mistake into a superpower, or you turn that mistake into a great lesson and opportunity for growth, then there's nothing to be ashamed of. That's just part of your life and who you are. So be
It's
brave.
so
Be brave
true.
enough to make mistakes.
Yeah, that is so true. Because that is really powerful if we just change the perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. And before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to add or any message you want to leave our audience with?
Well, that was definitely the biggest underlying thing is just continue to be brave and don't underestimate what falls in that category, I suppose. And it's not the
Mm,
same for everybody. In a world where we're in social media and you get to see things that just might feel so far away, things that perform the best are the things that are the most real feeling because we need things to relate to. So, what's brave for one person might be easy for another, but what's easy for you might be brave for another. So, don't judge yourself, don't judge others, just judge growth and encourage one another out there in the world. I'm such a big
yes.
such a big supporter in of community in general, and I have always my whole life as a creative and as someone who worked in the theater. That was just sort of in our blood, and I brought that to everything that I ever did after that, and that's why the work I did at Impact Theory was so transformational, even for me, because even though that was in my blood, it gave so much validation to it through the channel of people who all wanted to improve their lives together. It was an incredible thing to witness. So lean into sharing your brave moments with others too, whether that's your best friend or join a community like mine.
Yeah, that's a great message. We appreciate your time and expertise.
Mhm.
Where can our audience find you?
Thank you, Keiko. Well, you can find my school community, so Brave Speaker Academy on school.com. And Keiko, you can leave the link to the About page, which is how you can join. I just started Brave Speaker Academy on TikTok and Instagram. There's no content there. I literally just started it. So be on the lookout. Go ahead and follow. And I'll be adding content there very, very soon, video content. And you can find my personal account at ambra.by.ambra, Ambra by Ambra on Instagram.
Fantastic. We're sure to include those links in the YouTube description box. And thank you once again for being with us today. It's been a pleasure. And to our audience, thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this interview, please subscribe and leave us a review or share it with others who might find it interesting. Until next time, goodbye.
Thanks, Keiko.
You're welcome.